Okay, so we're recording now. I'm Sue, and I'm delighted to be able to speak to Carmel Ryan, whose son Fiacre participated in the Speechless documentary that I shared the link to on Unlocking Voices recently. So good morning, Carmel.
Good morning, Sue.
We meet again.
We meet again.
Carmel and I, we very first met back in 2013, didn't we?
Yes. Sue came, we had a workshop organised in Mayo with Erica Anderson from Ace Consulting in America, and Sue very kindly came over for the weekend and gave a talk for parents on the opening night, and just discussed her own experience with RPM and with her lovely son Chris. So that's where we first met.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you say I kindly came over. No, I wanted to come over because at that point, Carmel, I was wanting to learn more about RPM myself. I'd had success with Chris, and I was really passionate about wanting to share that success. But equally, I knew that, you know, there was still so much to learn. So I just took the opportunity to want to come and observe Erica working with a selection of children so that I could learn more and hopefully, you know, be able to help others. But let's go back to, if I can, to that time. How, as a parent, were you feeling at that time? You were just, had you dabbled? Had you had a little go yourself, or?
Well, what I had done was I had looked up a few of the links online, just, you know, just for a bit of information. I hadn't actually started working with Fiacre because I was afraid I'd do it wrong, and I wanted to learn how to do it properly, which I think is very, very important. So we didn't have a letterboard or anything. I think I might have done maybe a little bit of work on choices just to get him started. But literally, it was our first workshop, and at that stage we tried ABA, we had tried Teach, we tried it because I'm a teacher myself, so I tried a couple of different methods with Fiacre, with very little success, really. You know, he was still kind of at a very junior level of curriculum in school. I knew he was able for a lot more. I mean, I knew that because, you know, things that he was doing around the house, I just knew his understanding was there, but he just couldn't communicate it. He just couldn't give out what he had. And I think that's why I was interested in RPM in the first place, because it worked with children and presumed competence. And that's really where I was coming from with Fiacre, that I knew he could do it in my heart and soul, you know, and little things that he was doing around the house, you know, he'd be bringing me pictures and he'd be bringing me things, and I'd say, he knows exactly what's going on, but he had no way of outputting all of that.
Yeah.
So that was our first workshop in Swinford, and there were 6 students, none of whom had done RPM before. And all 6 of the boys, were all boys, all 6 of them were able to do the choices, were able to do the letterboard, we were absolutely, the parents, we were astounded at
I remember. There was a few tears.
Yeah, it was more than a few tears. Yeah. But it was such an eye-opener, because I think if you see it with one child, you may be on a video or something, that's, you know, you're kind of looking. But when you see six students, all of different ages, different stages, different personality, all actually engaging with the method and all having success, like that was the huge learning curve for us.
Yeah, I remember having a few phone conversations with a couple of the mums from Ireland, and I can remember there was a big fear, you know, oh my God, but what if it doesn't work for my child?
Yes.
Having an expert teacher come and work with the children really can show you what is possible.
Yes,
I think that's one of the key things. And I mean, at that point, there weren't many qualified RPM teachers even in the world. So you were,
Yeah, there weren't, because we tried Soma first, and she couldn't come, and she put us in touch with Erica. And Erica just said, okay, I can come next September. And then the couple of us were there going, oh, okay, have we enough families, because she needed 6. make it viable. And then we said, right, so we got the 6, and then we said, have we any money, which we didn't have. So that was another but you know, we managed. And as you say, having an expert who can show you and show the other professionals who were observing just what the method is all about and what can be done, that was extremely important, and that really got us on the right road.
Right, so that got you started. Now, you know, some parents sort of say to me, oh, well, you know, if I haven't got a teacher nearby, I won't be able to do it, you know. You know, let's be frank, you had Erica there. I can't remember how many sessions would Fiacre have had over those few days.
I think maybe six.
So yeah, so say he's had 6 sessions, and then you've got no support for how long?
I think it was probably maybe 6 to 8 months before we could get Erica back again.
So what did you do in the meantime? How did you progress?
Well, in the meantime, we got the videos from ACE, you know, from the American company, and we literally sat down and watched them and learned and practiced from them. And then I also sent them into Fiacre school, because there was a teacher there who was very interested in doing it. And I sat down with her and we went through it again. And then we started practicing with Fiacre. But it was every day, practice. And then if we were stuck, or if we, you know, needed to move on, or thought we could move on, we'd email Erica, or and also we went to Soma's books. She has quite a comprehensive selection of books. So we went back to those, the green book and the orange book and the red book. And you would always find the answer. It might take a while, but if you kept at it, you would find the answer to how to move on, or how to.
Yeah, because I think in that at that time, it was even before we'd set up the Facebook group, the Unlocking Voices Facebook group. That was a sort of I think I set that up a bit later. After I did the first UK workshop with Soma. Did you come to that one?
Yes, we came to one in Birmingham.
Right. So you came as observers to that. So I suppose really the key thing that I'm trying to get across to any people that are watching was that, you know, you were determined to learn this method and to learn it properly, you know, and you did this by having a skilled teacher come and work with your child, by using all the resources you could possibly find, using Soma's books, having email contact with a teacher. You know, you had the opportunity to come and observe Soma working with other students and learn from there. So I think having that learning mindset as a parent is perhaps one of the most important things in achieving success with RPM. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. So I'd agree 100%. You know, so some people would say, oh, it didn't work for my child, or this didn't work, or that didn't work, or whatever. It's so much a parent-driven program. It really is. And it's all about learning how to do it properly and upskilling. And I mean, we're still learning. We're 8 years doing it, and we are still learning. Every time I go to a workshop, or someone comes to work with Fiacre, or I work with Fiacre, I learn something new. And I do too. We have our own tutor now in Ireland, and we sent Claire Philbin over to Soma, and she trained as a tutor. I think she's the only one really in Ireland. And
so Claire is a level 3 RPM provider, so you're lucky really that you've got her there now.
And we also had Alex Hopwood. Alex used to come to us before she had her baby.
So, another level 3 provider. So
So we made sure that we always had somebody skilled who would keep us on track. And I think that's really the only way it works. And you know, it can fall between the cracks if you don't have somebody skilled keeping you on track and keeping the kids.
Could I just take you back to, you mentioned that you showed some of the videos at quite an early stage to Fiacre's teacher at school. Now, this is quite a difficult area, introducing RPM to teachers in school, because often what we see is that there's a lot of enthusiasm, but a lack of appreciation of the amount of learning and amount of skill that is actually required to work with a student in a school. So I don't know, perhaps you could just tell me a little bit more about your school experience and how you've managed that, and any difficulties that you've had.
Yes, in primary school, which would be up to age 12 in Ireland, Fiacre's teacher and SNA both came to the workshops and upskilled themselves, and made themselves very familiar with the method. And his SNA was excellent. She's just one of these people, she just took to it straight away.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any problems as such in primary school. Now in secondary school, because there were a number of different teachers working with Fiacre, I had to go in on occasion, because at one stage a substitute teacher sent me a note or whatever, and I said, what are you doing, or how are you doing it, whatever. And she said, oh, I just took up the board. I saw somebody else using it. And I said, sorry, you can't do that. It's not a question of just taking up the board. And she said, well, I saw someone else doing it, so it can't be that hard. But it is hard. That's the problem. It is hard. And if you just take up the board and try to do open communication with a child that you have no relationship with, you haven't worked with him before, you know nothing about the method, it's just going to be a disaster. And I suppose that was our experience in secondary school, that we had to get very strict, and we had to say, no waving of the board. We want to know who's doing the RPM with Fiacre. Just use it for academic lessons. Don't be asking him what he feels about his mother and father.
Yes. Well, this is the danger. People that don't understand start using the letterboard, or trying to use it conversationally, and it can lead to severe, it can lead to very serious issues and problems, because there's influencing that can happen, and there's a lack of understanding about the issues that our children have to do with episodic memory of events and the way they recall things. So you're absolutely right to make a strong stance on that.
That was our experience. And again, the influencing on the letterboard, it was like we would get things that Fiacre said this and Fiacre said that, and I'm thinking, no, that never happened. And he said he was going to another school and this kind of thing, and I'm like, no, that was never, that was never discussed. So that was influencing, and we had to get quite strict about it, and it didn't go down well. I'll be honest. People were kind of saying, who does she think she is, and what do you want now, and you want it or do you not, and but it kind of worked out in the end. We basically, in the end, I think mostly what we did was, he did his work in school and we did the heavy RPM work at home. That's kind of the way I left it. I said, look, just do what, do teach, ask, or whatever.
Teach, ask for academics, and you'll build on the skills. Yeah.
We'll build on the skills and the open communication and everything at home. And that's what works for us.
That sounds like an absolutely brilliant idea. And do you have, do people like Claire help out? Do they go into the school at all? Is Claire going to school?
Yeah, Claire went into the school a few times, and I know she's going into other schools now where particularly students are doing exams.
Yeah. So if you've got a level 3 provider that can go in and work with the school, then it can be made to work. And she helped Fiacre with his leavers certificate.
Yes, she helped him with actually, when I think of it now, Alex went into the school as well.
Right.
And again, it was around that whole thing. I was concerned that there was influencing going on with the board. And Alex came in and just gave a little talk to the SNAs and said, look, watch what I'm doing. And, this, kind of just in a nice general way. But Claire did help Fiacre to do his exams, because for his exams, he was given the accommodations of a reader and a scribe.
Right.
So he was able to point out his answers on the letterboard with Claire. And then I wrote down his answers. That's how he did it.
It was absolutely amazing. It was brilliant to see. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So this was a mainstream school that he was in, yeah?
Yes, with an ASD unit.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah,
okay. Because I was going to say, how did he cope in all the mainstream lessons, or was it just for part of the day and then?
Just for part of the day and just for some subjects. And
okay.
And depending on how he was regulated, he could stay for a lesson or he might not. you know.
Excellent. So they were accommodating like
They
that.
were
That sounds really
accommodating.
good. Yeah, yeah. Because I would say with my son, I never got to the stage where I felt that he would be able to go and, you know, participate in a full lesson in a big group environment like that. So
Well,
Fiacre's
now
done really well.
yeah, he did well for a while, but he ended up coming out of more classes than he went into, I think, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to
Yeah,
see.
he did a few things like that
Yeah.
that weren't that he liked, and they weren't too taxing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that, because we I didn't really pick up that message from the documentary. It looked
But I
like
think,
school went well.
yeah, no, 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 they were. And again, it's very much up to individual teachers.
Yeah.
Some teachers were absolutely brilliant. They
Yeah.
tolerated him. They did let him walk around or do whatever he was doing. And another teacher straight away said, "Oh, he can't come in here. He's turning on the taps out."
Right. Okay.
So, like,
Okay.
you know, it's I suppose it's like everything. Some people understand, some people are tolerant, and some people are not, and that's just what you.
Yeah.
That's just
No, thanks so much for explaining that. I think that's really helpful to for other people to hear. Just before we sort of wrap things up, because I said we'd be 10 minutes and we've already gone over. You know, one of the things that I really liked about the documentary was that it showed the real side of autism, as well as his sort of intellectual ability being intact. It shows that, you know, RPM doesn't actually cure autism, and you've still got lots of issues. I mean, I love the obsession about the broken branches. People throwing up the broom trying to get that broken branch off because he just couldn't stop.
He just couldn't stop.
Thinking about it. Yeah, yeah.
I was delighted they left that piece in the documentary, because I wanted it to be realistic. You know, I wanted people to see what it actually is like to have somebody that obsesses about something, and just, you know, he just could not. He couldn't come in until that branch was sorted, and the whole family. It was a family effort to get the branch down, and somebody said to my husband afterwards, "Did he ever get the branch down?" And my husband said, "You don't know anything about autism, because he'd still be there if he didn't get the branch down."
I totally get that, but, you know, what I loved was how, the whole family was really, even if you had not got the branch down, Fiacre could see that you were all understanding that this was something that causes him anxiety,
and stress,
and he can see that you're all doing your best to sort it out, you know, and to help reduce his anxiety. So if nothing else, it shows such a lovely level of understanding of him, really, I thought.
And my daughter in the background is saying, this is what autism is really like. Let's just show the real autism here, you know.
It was
what we deal with every day.
It was lovely in the documentary to see the involvement of his sisters, you know, to see the whole family unit, and to see really how, through RPM, you know, they've learned so much about their brother, and the relationship has obviously improved so much as a result of that.
It definitely, it certainly opened doors for us, and it has changed our lives. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Okay, so just as a sort of a final thing, what would you say to parents who are thinking about RPM, or thinking about, who are just starting on their journeys?
I suppose I would just say, make sure you get the proper training, the proper help, and make sure you keep in touch with a provider who is trained. Take it slow. Every child makes progress at a different rate. That's one thing that I discovered. So I mean, I've seen kids taking up the letterboard straight away and being able to spell and do everything. And then I've seen others at choices for years. So I suppose just follow your own path, stay in your lane, follow your own path, and work at it, and be prepared to work at it, because it is difficult, and there will be hard times, and there will be times when your child can't tolerate it. There'll be times when you think you're going backwards, but it is worth it in the end. And it is very much a parent program. I think that's how it works best. If you're prepared to put in the time, learn the method properly, put in the effort and the practice, it is hugely, hugely rewarding.
It is, isn't it? And when you get your child coming up with some sort of open communication, I mean, something creative, you know, a poem or some words, and you're sort of holding that letterboard, and you just can't believe you're thinking, how
we're calling everybody, oh, come in, can I show you, come in, can I show you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the most
one of the first things the Fiacre did was tell a lie on the letterboard. He was after doing something. I knew he was after doing something, and I said, was that you? And he said, no, it was Alison on the letterboard. And I said, oh, we're really getting places now. He can lie on the letterboard.
Brilliant. I absolutely love that. Oh, thanks so much for your time today. I'm sure this will be really helpful for the parents.
Helpful for somebody else. Yeah.
Let me just stop the recording.